Olrich Starfell is no longer the man he once was, but his ambitions still burn as hot as the sands of the Torrentine. As age creeps in, the House Valor built begins to show signs of cracking from within. A civil war brews, where kin threatens to turn blade against kin, and the dream of bringing dragons to the Torrentine threatens to become a nightmare. Yet even now, Ulrich's quiet investment in the shadowy no-name bank has seen his influence rise, and no matter how tarnished or fractured the house may become, one truth remains: dawn still shines as bright as ever, and only the worthy may call themselves the head of the Dayne dynasty. Welcome back, everybody. It is a beautiful day in the High Lordship of the Torrentine here, where High Lord Olrich Starfell sits. 64 years of age and in poor health. We are not long for this world. Ulrick is still reeling from the death of his son and heir, Bastian, who was murdered shortly after he imprisoned and executed his wife for being an adulterer, which resulted in Yolande here, who has disputed heritage. Now, we don't know who killed Bastian. If we ever find out, we'll certainly enact revenge, but the one person who we could enact some revenge on is Hugh Groswell here. Hugh is the suspected father of Yolande, and of course the suspected man that was adultering with Daenerys. Interestingly, he's actually unlanded. He is Captain Goran's stooge here, so not exactly the most amazing position to have in life. Captain Goran here is actually the ruler of the Ironborn Men, an adventurer band which is 213 men. Now, we could attempt to murder Hugh. It is predicted to be very hard to begin with, likely since he is actually all the way up here. Where actually is he? Well, he's going to be traveling a lot, obviously, with the adventurer band. They are on their way. They are traveling miles. Where are they going? They're on their way north of the wall, actually. They are heading over to the Frostfangs here with King Craster Forrester, the 11-year-old king, likely going to try and help out in the struggle beyond the wall here. So we are relatively influential, but not exactly to the point that we have spies in the north of the realm, let alone beyond the wall. So what I might try and do instead is see if I can possibly even sway Hugh a little bit, maybe under false pretenses explain that we want the original father back, we're Dornish, we're understanding, but then we kill him. If we try to invite him to court right now, even if we pay for travel expenses, it's still not enough. And to be honest, I'm not sure if the plus 25 from his opinion of us can actually be increased anymore, but I'm going to give it a go at the very least in case maybe it'll just take him over the edge if he actually likes us a little bit more. We will attempt to sway him under false pretenses for the time being to see if we can get him back in our court to then kill him. Someone else did make the point that in terms of Yolande here, who is the daughter of that adultering, that we should banish her, send her somewhere where she's outside of the realm, like Silent Sisterhood or something. I may still do that because it's not exactly a punishment, but bear in mind that in terms of disposing of bastards or looking down on them, that's certainly not something that Ulrick would do. His father was a bastard himself and did found this dynasty. Now, obviously, things change over time. Down the line, if we expand outside of Dorne, or as we get closer with the Targaryens, we might start to look very differently upon bastards. But as of right now, I think we'd be very forgiving, at least of the children, but certainly not of the parents. The good news, though, is outside of that tragedy, we did manage to pick up a new actual High Lordship here of Sandstone. We are in control of Sandstone at the moment, which also means that we now have enough prestige to actually claim the Liege's title for the Lord Paramountcy of Dorne. So that is something that we definitely want to start planning for. Of course, with the death of Bastian, our new player heir is his son Merik here, who is unfortunately club-footed. Now, people in the comments did make the very good point that since he's club-footed, he is not going to make the most fantastic knight with his -2 prowess and whatnot. Technically, it would be better for us to maybe make one of our other sons heir, something like that, or maybe even like the other son of Bastian here, K Starfell, who is wheezing but already an aspiring bladesmaster. But the truth is, it's not incredibly easy for us to begin with to even just change who our actual heir is. We could do it at absolute crown authority, but we'd have to go up 2 levels to do that. I'm not sure if Ulrich has enough time, to be honest. I'm also not against the idea of just playing it out as well. Sometimes we might end up being club-footed or some other negative trait. Ideally, of course, for the sake of the family, you want to keep positive traits and have that snowball, but I am still playing a roleplay series here. The goal is not to play hyper efficiently and get dragons as easy as possible and get kingdoms as easy as possible. We are here for the slow burn, for that grind, working our way up, and maybe Merik, despite his clubfoot, could still go down as being a legend inside of House Starfell. The other thing that we know about Merik is that he is both rowdy and zealous. So despite being club-footed, he actually is very decent at martial already, just at the age of 11. I think, though, something that we may actually do with Merik when he comes to power is actually take some perks in the Wandering Tree here, which will allow us to do the activity of actually a monument expedition. Now, why do we want to do this? It was pointed out to me in the comments of the previous episode that there is a concept in this mod known as dragon lore. The way in which I understand it is that there are certain key points on the map that upon visiting, you can actually begin to increase your understanding of dragon lore, and you can then teach this to your children to help them with basically everything dragon related. I also spoke a lot about how Merik here does have a dragon rider parent. I understand that he's not just going to suddenly one day get the dragon rider trait, but that ultimately with the Targaryen and Valyrian blood, he should eventually have that ability to actually bond with a dragon. The chances are likely quite low at the moment, given that only one of his parents has that blood and the dragon rider trait and whatnot, but ultimately we've just unlocked the ability for him to maybe bond with a dragon. I have also not lost sight of the fact that we can still actually try and get our hands on some dragon eggs here, most likely from Sapporo. He is 59 and infirm already, a famous reveler. His heir is Orlantia Priestane here, who is going to inherit the actual Priestane titles. So we could also possibly try and steal those eggs from her, or of course, we still have the ability to actually get a colony over here in Valyria and maybe find some that way. Or possibly, if Merik focuses on it enough, maybe even mount an expedition over there to see if we can find some without actually colonizing it yet. I believe that's everything that was brought up in the comments and a good overview of our current situation here, but just a quick massive shout out to all of you for your help in the comments, helping me understand different mechanics and things specific to this mod. It is still my first time ever playing it, so whenever something new happens, it's my first time seeing it. Now, given the fact that we are actually best friends with our liege, Lady Arlene here, I think it is time to petition her once again. We have been in her good books for a long time, and why not have her build another city for us? It is essentially her giving us a free 400 gold to build a city. By the way, while I'm in this travel screen, this is the dragon lore locations that we want to visit. Site of Draconic Significance. When visited, will trigger a dragon lore event. So I think it's going to be Merik's goal in life to gain as much knowledge as possible about dragon lore. While he's learning all about dragon lore, we'll keep marrying into the Valyrian bloodlines, and that should get us significantly closer to actually getting a dragon inside of our realm. This isn't actually a draconic point of interest, this is just actually where a wild dragon is. Let's start this travel though. We're going to head over to Sunspear and see if we can get Lady Arlene to build another city for us. Passing through a market in Dry Waste, and we see a crowd of people that are watching an ongoing tussle between two women. Gwyn here asks who is next, and I can say I will do it. 82% chance we win the duel. Come on, we are old and not in the best shape of our lives, but surely we can pull this off. Nope, we lost. We have to pay her 10 gold and we lose 26 stress because we are ambitious. Now, Lady Mara of Viper's Nest here has offered for our other grandson, K Starfell, to squire under Sir Malor here. I will accept this. Malor is decent. He is a knight and a trained fighter. I think this makes sense. K has the potential to actually be very good in terms of prowess as well, given that he's an aspiring blade master at the age of 9. Meanwhile, Lord Rhys here, who we took Sandstone off of, is now in a Liberty faction against us. This is realistically just a repeat of of when we took Blackmont and had to deal with them for a while. I don't think that'll be an issue. Speaking of Blackmont, actually, it is Lord Gesmund Blackmont who has somewhat persisted the Blackmont name inside of the Torrentine here. He's still doing okay. He doesn't mind us that much. I think we're kind of cool with that family now. We even have some alliances with them. The betrothed can marry. This is Lord Olrich Starfell, our youngest son, I believe, who actually looks very nice with that eye patch. We are marrying him off to a Laura Valarion here, who is 16 years old. What is this? Oh, just uncouth. That is a terrifying picture for uncouth. That is perfectly fine. The 10,000 men for the Driftmark Alliance, as well as the Valarian blood, is perfectly acceptable. Somebody did make the point as well, and we likely will do this with Merik's children, to actually have them educated by somebody who is High Valyrian, so that we don't have to worry as much about constantly trying to find those marriages that can actually start getting that High Valyrian culture inside of our actual realm. And of course, our best friend Lady Arlene immediately agrees once again, and that is another city that we are now going to get built on her dime. Dark Wake will now be built with no cost to us. Oh, look at this. King Gaiman has declared war on First Magister Sotho here. It looks like the Iron Throne is actually going to war for once again the Kingdom of the Stepstones. So Lys has obviously managed to gain control here a bit in the Stepstones. The Iron Throne is still not giving up on it. They were fighting over this before Gaiman was born. He's now 32 and still fighting for it. We'll probably be okay though with his 118,000 men as well as 7 owned dragons. Now, the bookkeeping has been finished once again. The bank has lost 2,000 gold. What is going on with these expenses? Get me in control of this bank. There has to be corruption here. A thorough assessment nonetheless. I wonder if the actual voting for who the next director of the bank will be only happens when the director dies. I thought it was every few years. Maybe not, though. Thankfully, the shares are nice and cheap again. I am going to keep buying them. That now puts us at almost twice the amount of votes as the second highest shareholder, so we should have control of this bank very soon. And poor Ulrick at 64 years of age is now infirm. Don't you worry, Ulrick. You have done more than enough for your house. Now, I've also used some of my prestige to invite some knights to court, both for, obviously, knights in and of themselves, but also to fill out some of these court positions, because we have somewhat been neglecting our court positions here, and our court overall. There's been lots of things to take care of in terms of expansion and everything else, but I also want to make sure that we have all of those bonuses wrapping up, even when we're not that active in terms of expansion. Just so I'm not spending all of it on buying new shares in the bank, I'm also going to spend a little bit of gold here, maybe to get each of our men-at-arms just up to size 2, so at least our standing army is nice and strong. Playing the long game here, eventually we'll likely end up in a large war when we go for Dorne and whatnot. Dorne also at the moment do have a dragon in their possession, which is a bit of a problem. So if we can't get one in our possession by the time we go for the kingdom, we're also going to want to invest in some scorpions here, which is an anti-dragon weapon. I have no idea how effective they may be up against dragons. We'll have to see. King Gaiman is now power sharing, and his regent is actually Lord Powerment Gorman, the Lord of Flowers Tyrell. Look at that. I love how they've done the Tyrell armor there. Now, it looks like Hugh here, no matter how much we sway him, isn't willing to leave his position and come to our court. Let's attempt a murder scheme here. We will do balanced, and maybe we can pull this off. Emery Starfell, our son, is straight in. I forgot he was an intricate web weaver, so he actually gives 33 contribution towards being the assassin. We're going to send our son after him. Oh my god, finally. The last director is dead. We can vote for a new director. We, of course, vote for ourselves, Lord Ulrick. Yes, the bank's new director. Lord Ulrick has received 129 votes and will guide the bank to ever-growing prosperity. Too right, I will. Now then, let's see. Manage bank. What exactly can I do here? I can change risk level. I can adjust dividend rates, interest rates. I can delegate management of defaults or reject new investments. So looking at the books starting off with, we have 386 shares issued, the revenue is close to 1,000, and our expenses are already up at 100. So let's actually increase the interest rate here. So this will actually result in fewer customers, but the profits per customer will increase. For the risk level, I'm going to keep this on balanced just for the time being. Now, dividend level is interesting. I could focus on long-term growth, which I would like to do, but when I die, they're going to elect a new director. I assume Merik will inherit my shares, but he will be too young to actually be in control of the bank. So maybe we want to actually enrich our shareholders, at least while I'm in control. We also have the unique ability to replenish the investment fund. I don't think we will do this yet, though. Our available capital is 5,000, but we've loaned 10,000. So we have like a 2-to-1. I'm getting deep into like the economics of banking here, but we have like a 2-to-1. What's it called? Like debt ratio, basically. So for every 1 gold we have, we've basically loaned out 2. So that could end up being an issue. And then our investment fund is already nice and healthy at around 6,000. So I think we'll be okay here. I can't wait after talking such a big game to look in a year and the bank loses like 10,000 gold. Oh, and we're also going to get these events where debtors actually default on their loan. Magister Fodio is no longer able to honor his loan. Our shareholders will be furious if I simply abandon the funds. What do I want to do? I can say this is the cost of doing business, or handle it myself, or delegate it. I think I'm actually happy to handle these myself. Don't worry, I'm not going to show every single pop-up. I imagine there'll be a few of them. Oh, we have lots of options here. We can hire pirates to pillage his domain. We could send an assassin. We'll have more luck with his heir. We could forge a claim on his title. Write a letter to his liege, or undermine his economy. Let's write a letter to his liege. It'll only cost the bank 15 gold, and 80% chance the liege is convinced. Ooh, Jaehaerys Velaryon just died. Who is the new heir? Oh, it's Lady Elisa Velaryon here. Merik has reached out to me and wants an alliance. Of course you can have an alliance, Merik. No issues there, my friend. Oh, even though his liege was convinced, he still outright refused to obey. Alright, then we're going to forge a claim on his title and then sell that to his neighbor. Oh, we're at death's doorstep. We are at death's doorstep. Oh, it's more bad news. The man we tried to sell it to refused. Alright, maybe this is a lost cause then. I'd have no problem sending an assassin, but it's a 74% chance of failure. And at this point, we're sinking more money into this than he even defaulted on. So there's nothing we can do in this one. We are also dying. It is a shame. I wanted to be in control of the bank for a little bit longer. I'm seriously hoping that all of our shares go to Merik. I really hope they don't just go back to the bank. Look at this. The investment funds return. This year, the invested money earned us a profit of 175 gold. Tremendous. Look at this. Look at this for revenue versus expenses. I can kind of understand now why the expenses were getting so high, though. I feel like when the AI had a debtor, they were just trying every possible way to get the money back. Often probably spending more money trying to reclaim the debt than just letting it go. Look at this if it's not true love. At 65 years of age and Sharon at 63, she had actually started a seduce scheme against me that has ended successfully. Arlene is dead, the Princess of Dorne. It's a sad day for Ulrick. Not only was she our best friend, but she put close to 1,000 gold into our economy. Who is now in control? Lady Sylvina the Pollax, Nymeros Martell. Now, Maelys Targaryen, the son of Prince Gaemon, has taken to the skies on his dragon and Silagon. Meanwhile, Gaemon has been successful in the Stepstones, managing to take back some of this land, but has inherited another war of the Tyrosh expansion into the actual Stepstones as well. Now then, it looks like I've actually been able to back up all of my talk here. The bank has a revenue of 2,000 gold now, with only about 400 lost to expenses and loans lost to default. And our liquidity is looking a lot better as well. And there it is. Lord Ulrich of Torrentine has given up the ghost at 66 years of age. He died of old age, an old man. He lived a long, fulfilling life. That feels like a eulogy where the person didn't really know the man. Lord Merik ascended to the throne. Having mastered many skills, he is sure to be admired by his subjects. Continue as Lord Merik. 31 years we played as Ulrick. He died at 66 years of age, and I think it's fair to say that he did Vaelor proud as the first trueborn son of House Starfell. The good news is it appears as though we did inherit the shares, but unfortunately we're going to have to vote for somebody else now to be in control of the bank. We will vote for Lord Guy for the time being, but we will get back in control eventually. I like the bank as my little side project, but I promise I'm not going to overly bother you with all of the pop-ups because there's quite a few of them. Now then, first up as Merik here, I have actually gone and put Lord Reese here as our Castellan. He is going to improve our stewardship as it's quite high. We're also going to sway him, see if we can let bygones be bygones here. We're going to give Kral's Keep away. We'll stay with the martial education for the time being. Our regent here is Bayard, who is a fearless zealot. I believe his loyalty is situational. Not ideal, but the good news is we only have to wait about 3 years until we can take full control. Let's immediately start off by swinging the scales of power though, just in case he gets any ideas and make it a bit easier for ourselves when we hit 16. And then once we become an adult, we'll also go into the wandering focus and see if we can actually travel around a bit and start picking up some dragon lore and mounting some expeditions. I'm actually looking forward to playing as Merik, to be honest. I feel like we'll get to see some other parts of the map. Thus far, we've pretty much only really stayed in Dorne. Our father did go once over to the Three Daughters for a tournament, but not much travel outside of that. Now, we do have a faction triggering against us here with some relatively unhappy vassals who want lower crown authority. We might have to just agree to that, to be honest. Might not be a big issue. There's a claimant faction to put Emery in control of the High Lordship of Sandstone. We definitely can't let that happen. And it's actually Ulrick, so one of our uncles wants to put our other uncle in control of a High Lordship. We don't want that. And then we have Lady Ysilla here of White Dunes, who is actually in a loyalist faction, helping to safeguard us from factions. Appreciate that. But of course, what we also need to do is find a betrothal. Let's look for a Valyrian, please. We could betroth ourselves to Aria Targaryen here. She is our cousin. Non-ideal. Would give us that alliance with the Targaryens again, though, which would be quite nice. I mean, not the Iron Throne, but Vaela Hellfire of Dragonstone at the very least. We would really be embracing the Targaryen tradition, though, by marrying our cousin. Only a 0.3% risk of the children being inbred, though. And she does have a positive congenital trait of comely. So ideally, our children don't have club-footed and do pick up some positive traits. I'm going to send this proposal. Let's see if they accept. Okay, amazing. They have. That is fantastic news. I think by the time the betrothal comes to fruition, I may even do a grand wedding here. Now, our sister Erin here is 7 years old and is a genius. So it looks like the positive traits actually went to our sisters, unfortunately. I think I might marry her off to Thrasos Redguard here. He is Mirish. He is only 1 year younger than her and is intelligent and handsome. So while we're dealing with club-footed, our sister here is hopefully going to continue to get some really good traits into our family. Then we have our other sister, Yolande here, or maybe Yolande. This is the one with disputed heritage. You, I am not necessarily as interested in marrying off matrilineally. You, I would ideally like to get a very strong alliance out of. Lord Hugo Aaron of the Vale is a fantastic choice with his 46,000 men, so I think we'll do this as well. Tremendous, he accepted, and if I'm not mistaken, the Vale is still oversized. Yes, it is. Incredible. That should keep us safe for the time being. We have one of our sisters making sure we get some positive traits in the family, one of them giving us a massive alliance in terms of troops, and then myself with the Targaryen marriage, which will help, obviously, with dragons in war, and also make sure that we can actually continue down the Valyrian blood. Fortunately, Ulrich was unable to kill Hugh in time. We could, if we wanted, try and continue that, but we're not 14 yet, so we can't even start the scheme. Meanwhile, his boss is actually currently in prison, which is not fantastic. He's actually being jailed by Boros Baratheon of the Stormlands. So maybe we'll get back around to Hugh if he's still alive later for some revenge, but not the top of the priorities for Merik here. Looking at our relationships, it is nice to see that we do have a friend in our brother K Starfell. We also have a bully here, Lusanna Bardrian. Let me put a pin in you. Maybe we'll get some petty revenge later down the line. I was about to say if that's who we are, but it is, because we are vengeful, stubborn, rowdy, and zealous. Oh, we have the ability to pick up another trait here. Greedy, gregarious, or lustful. I would have liked to have picked something up more along the lines of education, considering I want Merik to really focus on that dragon lore. Greedy is not bad, though, for that extra income. Gregarious would help us with the diplomacy. Lustful is not bad either, but it is sinful. We're going to go greedy and just try and really fill up our coffers. Oh, that did not last long. Lady Sylvina is dead, and our new heir is Lord Clayton. Oh, that's why it didn't last long. There's a pox spreading. Now, Randon pox here has spread all through the capital, already killing 78 people. Ooh, this is pretty controversial. Gaiman here is helping out a pirate lord defend in a slave revolt. Realistically, it looks like the Iron Throne is defending their tributary here. That's realistically what it is, but controversial stuff at a King Gaiman all the same, considering that his faith does not abide by slavery. It's predicted to be difficult, but I'm going to attempt to see if we can get Merik to learn the language of Arya Targaryen here, possibly actually learning Valyrian. Would also make a ton of sense when it comes to him actually picking up on some of that dragon lore. Prince Daeron of the Iron Throne has died, and his dragon Moonfire is now without the guidance of his rider. He just died of illness, actually, at 65. It's interesting, actually, that these Targaryens over here, like, who's going to inherit this is Viserys Targaryen. Very nice character, actually. Brave, fortune builder, handsome, intelligent. But he is now actually the High Lord of the First Stepstone. So the Targaryens have put themselves in control of their conquered land in the Stepstones here. Incredible. We have been successful in learning Valyrian. Every zealot vassal opinion has gained 10 opinion of us. And we also now know the language of our betrothed. Now, the Liberty faction has finally fired. They want me to adopt autonomous vassals. I don't think we will, though. I think I'm going to say I will not be threatened. They do have 103% military power, but if we can get them in jail, we can then revoke their titles and stop this problem entirely. And also, we're trying to build our legitimacy at the moment. I don't really want to take a hit to it. Ooh, that is a lot more people involved than I was expecting. 6,000 troops here are going to rise up against us, including, she's back. House Dayne is still alive, 46 years old, and she still hasn't forgiven our family for taking her lands and sending her husband beyond the wall, where he ultimately died. Let's rally the troops, and we will also call in our grandmother, Princess Viella, here to our aid. It's also a defensive war, so we may as well call in the Vale with their 43,000 troops. Now, I'm going to see if I can maybe deal with some of these armies before they have the chance to group up. That would be ideal. Just really want to make sure we don't lose the army before our allies can actually come in here. Someone was trying to steal an artifact from me. I feel like that could be Sandstone, to be honest. He was demanding some artifacts back that I had taken from him when we took this High Lordship. It's probably him. They did manage to group up. I wasn't able to actually catch them, but as soon as our allies get down here, we should be fine. 44,000 troops coming in to help us. What is this? Greetings, Lord Merik. Your foe, Lord Rhys, dared to lead my nephew, Japeo, into carnal sin. I demand satisfaction for this slight. He's my enemy. Why are you asking me to compensate you for what my enemy did? I'm going to say Rhys will plead for your forgiveness publicly. I don't really care if Rhys doesn't like it. We're at war with him. Alright, so my allies are almost here. They are moving in from the north on their way through Prince's Pass at the moment. The issue, however, is that the enemy army is now moving down towards me. I'd rather not have my army decimated just a few days before my allies show up. So I'm actually going to embark my army for now. We will hang around the coast for a bit, maybe even move back up here and try and move around this army to link up with our allies. I've also just noticed something else about this war. So one of the people that's actually attacking us is none other than Felix Starfell. Now this is interesting for a few reasons. Firstly, it's the first time we have Starfell against Starfell in a war. Felix is the other son of Lord Vaelor the Poet Sand, and if you remember correctly, he was married off to Lady Rhaenys Velaryon for that Valyrian blood. However, when our father Bastian killed Daenerys, Silverwing ended up on the loose inside of the Torrentine, and the person that ended up claiming Silverwing was Felix's wife, Rhaenys. So that actually means that if we consider Viella here, she may have some dragons in her army, but Felix is also going to have a dragon in his. So when the Targaryen army gets down here and they fight each other, there's a chance that these dragons may actually duel it out. Okay, it looks like the enemy have changed direction, so we've re-embarked now. We're going to try and move our way up here. The Velaryons are turning on us. Now, Captain Baelor the Handsome's after stealing our prize scepter. We will worry about getting that back later, though. Right now, we've got to focus on this war. So they did end up attacking Vaella's army up here, but Viella should be fine. I think she actually has, like, 4 dragons in here. We can see medium, grand, tyrannical, and great dragon army support. So yeah, she has 4 dragons with her. Meanwhile, the attackers just have one terrifying dragon in the form of Silverwing. Now, if a yellow was able to win that battle easily, it looks like all of the dragons got away without a scratch, which honestly I'm quite happy with. I don't even really want Silverwing to die, because that is the dragon that's inside of our realm. I think this is the first time we've ever even seen this, but our spy master, Lady Medina here, has actually discovered a spy, Malia Sand, inside of our court. It's interesting that that doesn't give us an immediate imprisonment reason, but I guess for now we'll just dismiss her. And Merik is now officially a man. 16 years old, we've gained the trait Dutiful Captain, as well as Trained Fighter. Immediately, the new Prince of Dorne, Lord Clayton here, has asked us to become his Master at Arms of Dorne. We will gladly accept. See if we can end our entrenched regency with some piety here. Only a 66% chance, unfortunately. I'm also going to start Merik down the wandering lifestyle here. Not a focus I normally take at all, really, but for the dragon lore, we're going to need to be able to mount some expeditions. I'm going to take destination focus, so we'll get some prestige at points of interest, as well as +1 martial and stewardship. And then we're going to head down Voyager here, so that we can get down to journey, which enables us to actually mount some expeditions. We also have a new dynasty legacy available to us. We were continuing down warfare and law here. Warfare can never really hurt, to be honest, having those better quality troops, but there are also times where it could just come down to who has a dragon. I think I might actually head down legitimacy here for eventually picking up the lasting line modifier, because legitimacy is just a really important mechanic. When you're below it, it absolutely sucks, and when you're above it, some of those bonuses are tremendous. Now, we also need to choose a patron aspect for Merik here as well. I think we'll go for the warrior here. -1 diplomacy, +1 prowess, and +2 maximum battle roll. Reason being, even though my focus for Merik is to have him travel around and gain some dragon lore knowledge, he is very much a fighter. Skilled tactician, aggressive attacker, trained fighter, highest stat is martial, so we'll at least nurture that along the way. There's no reason why he can't also be a traveler. Oh my word. We had a small little skirmish up, well, I say small, it was small on their side, a few hundred men versus our like 15,000, but Silverwing has been killed. Was killed by Alysanne Targaryen and her dragon in a dragon duel. She was killed by my cousin. So Silverwing is now dead at 144 years of age, and I assume, yep, Lady Rhaenys was killed in the process as well. Absolutely incredible. Let us just try and finish this war now, get it dealt with. We also have the question of what we're going to do with some of these people when we have them in prison. The butterfly effect is just incredible to me, though. The amount of Starfell people we've given land to and we're in the good books with, and the one Starfell man, Felix, who revolts against us, ends up losing his wife, the dragon that his wife controlled, and his eldest son to a different dragon as well. And all of that because he was revolting against me because he wanted lower crown authority. There it is. With a few more sieges, we have officially put this Liberty War to bed. 22 months. Now we have the fun decision of figuring out what to do with all of our prisoners, including the Starfell that turned against us. Obviously, I'm going to start off by revoking all of these lands away. It'll actually work out well in the long run, because at least we will control these lands more directly, and we can give them to people who are a bit more grateful. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't see this before, but when I right-click on Starfell or Dayne, I have the option to offer Dawn to them. If they're not worthy, they may not accept, but that is actually a fantastic way to get Dawn into use. Otherwise, I would have just been waiting for the training sort of the morning event. Okay, so our rivals here, Sir Rhys the Evil, Sir Edmund the Lord of Stars Dayne, and Aaliyah the Crackling Scorpion are all going to stay in prison for now, since they are my rivals. What do we do with Yness Dayne here? She never forgave us for sending her father to the wall and taking the elbow from her family. I don't really want to kill her, because that would give us the trait Dynastic Kinslayer, which is very far from ideal. So I think I will negotiate her release, but I am going to ask her to renounce all of her claims once and for all. Felix, however, is an interesting case. First of all, let me demand the prize scepter that the Valyrians stole from me back. Then we also have another Felix Starfell here who's 21. His parents were Vaelor, who was killed by a dragon. His grandfather is Felix, who we have in our prison, and his grandmother is Rhaenys, that was also killed by a dragon. Not just killed, but eaten by Alysanne's dragon. So in this case, rather than just having this whole line of Starfell hate me forever, I'm actually going to gain a weak hook on Felix and recruit him into our court. I am then going to move around here and start granting some more of these revoked lands off to ideally more members of Starfell. Okay, so everybody in the prisons has mostly been taken care of. All we have left now is our rivals, some people we've imprisoned for other reasons, and then Felix. I think our rivals that we're not related to, though, will have to be executed. I think Merik has to put his foot down here as a young, new High Lord. He has to show that this will not be tolerated, and he will not go easy against rebels. It also makes sense given the fact that we are indeed vengeful, so wouldn't necessarily be handing out mercy left, right, and center here. That leaves us with Edmund Dayne and Felix Starfell, two men who are in our dynasty. And to be honest, I think they can stay there for now. I can't actually send either of them to the Night's Watch or anything, and even though I could renounce their claims and whatnot, I don't really want them free again. And as one dragon leaves our world, another one enters it. Princess Alyssa Targaryen, our aunt, has just hatched Spyrax here. Lord Peros wants to ransom off Felix here with 10 gold. No, I don't think so. Maybe eventually we will ransom these men off, but I think I will let them languish in the prison for a little bit longer. We can't kill them, but they need some sort of punishment for turning against us. Oh, I didn't even realize it, but my entrenched regency discharge mustn't have worked last time. I have the option to do it again. Okay, maybe this time? There we go, that is our power sharing ended as well, so we are now officially in full control. Now that the war is over, for our first travel, let us go and pay homage to our new liege. As per usual, we will demonstrate submission, but give nothing else. So this is the first time, and hopefully the first of many, that Merik here will travel outside of his actual capital holding. Hopefully we can build up a good relationship with Clayton here. The issue is that he's currently ill. Hopefully he does accept to see us. Incredible, we formed a trailside bond with Wyland Septwood here, who's actually our sworn shield, so very happy to be friends with him. Here we are, we managed to visit Sunspear. Clayton here has agreed to see it, which is good news. He bids me to arise and confirms his satisfaction along with my rights to the lands I rule in his stead. Hail the Lord. Meanwhile, my brother Kay has just been knighted, fair play to him. We have officially gained the trait Traveller as well. Typically, I don't pay too much attention to this, but given how much we plan to travel with Merik, hopefully we can get Wanderer and Seasoned leveled up so that we actually get the nice diplomacy, learning, and health boosts, as well as the stewardship and prowess boosts. Now, our brother Kay here can also marry, and I'm actually going to marry him into a dynasty that we haven't interacted with much yet, and that is House Celtigar. Interestingly, they are actually of a culture known as Westerosi Valyrian, but their culture does have that Valyrian blood, so we're still getting that blood that we actually need here. Not much by ways of an alliance, but there isn't a huge amount of Targaryens or Valarians going at the moment for Kay to marry, so I think this could work. I am also going to start swaying our liege here, just if we can get him to 100 and be in the good books, we will repeat what we saw our father do very often, heading over and asking him to build cities in our realm. With that though, I'm going to leave this episode here. It has been a hell of a day putting down that rebellion. We've ended up with a Starfell in our prison. Not just any Starfell, but the son of the founder, Vaelor the Poet Sand. If you could have told Vaelor that this would have happened, he probably wouldn't have believed you, let alone the fact that his grandson would also be killed by a dragon, as well as Felix's wife getting killed and eaten off the back of Silverwing. With that though, I'm going to leave this episode here. It has been a hell of a day putting down that rebellion, ending up with the son of the founder of our dynasty and our house member Felix Starfell in our prison, whose son was actually killed by a dragon, as well as his wife eaten by one, and Silverwing being killed as well by a different dragon. So we are inching closer each day to getting dragons inside of our actual own control, but with our alliances, we are already starting to see how powerful dragons are in action. In the next episode, when we actually get Merik further down the Voyager perk tree here, we will start sending him around, seeing if we can learn more about dragons and continue to inch closer and closer to being in control of one, as well as also getting him back in control of the bank. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Massive shout out to all of our channel members helping to support everything that I do here on the channel, and a very special shout out to our Emperor's Hands tier, Faustbread, Spencer Roberts, Batch Plays, and Wyatt Laird. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.